Sure.
Good evening, everyone. We thank you for your patience. At this time, I'm going to request to call the order to establish a quorum. Roll call vote, Shay.
Mr. Jones. Here. Dr. Beckwith.
Here.
Ms. Barrett.
Yes. Thank you for your patience.
I apologize. I believe Ms. May is on.
Oh, okay. Dr. May,
Yes, present.
thank you. Okay. Just a moment, please. Okay. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. We will now go to announcements. And I'd like to make an announcement. On November 15, 2021, Dr. Joylyn Pruitt Adams graciously agreed to join Riverview Gardens School District as the acting superintendent, following the announcement of Dr. Scott Spurgeon's leave of absence and impending retirement effective June 30th, 2022. It is with great pride that I can announce that the Special Administrative Board have reached an agreement with Dr. Pruitt Adams that will see her remain in leadership as the interim superintendent effective April 1st, 2022. Then effective July 1st, 2022, Dr. Pruitt Adams will remain on board and her title will be elevated to Superintendent of Schools. We are pleased with the tremendous work Dr. Pruitt Adams has done in such a short time with helping us to envision a new view on the horizon for Riverview Gardens. We are confident that Dr. Pruitt Adams will continue to provide the vision and stability and leadership needed to help our scholars achieve academic excellence as we continue to strive to gain full accreditation. I think we should give her another hand.
Madam President, can we have some words from Dr. Pruitt Adams?
Wow. My volume right here. I just want to thank the Special Administrative Board for your confidence in me. I want to thank the staff and administration for having embraced me and my leadership and the direction that I believe as a school system we can go. I'm just one person, but there are a plethora of committed administrators and teachers in this district who are determined to see our scholars escalate to their full potential and our district back to its full accreditation status. You know, it is with pleasure that I say there's truly a new view on the horizons and we're going to get this done. So thank you so much.
I also have the pleasure of making this announcement. March 2nd, 2022, Dr. Miranda Avant Elliott. Dear Miranda, congratulations by completing 18.5 hours of MSBA CMB essential training. You have met the requirements of the Missouri law for a new board member training. We commend you for your initiative in undertaking this professional development program. You will have access to the online training for another month if you wish to review any content. Please find enclosed a certificate and pen in recognition of your achievement and a transcript of your credits to date. State law now also requires board members to complete 1 hour refresher training each subsequent year of your term, and that's every 2 years or 3 years. MSBA provides various options for fulfilling this refresher training requirement as indicated on our website at www.mosba.org. I just want to skip this part and say, as I congratulate you, let me also encourage you to pursue additional school board member education and training. At MSBA, we believe ongoing professional development for school board members is crucial for school boards to maximize their contributions to the school board, superintendent's governance team. We stand ready to assist you in that effort. Thank you for your commitment to the school children of Missouri. Yours truly, Melissa Randall, Executive Director of MSBA. And on behalf of the board, Miranda, way to go. We appreciate you taking your training and welcome to being a certified board member. Let's give her a hand.
Thank you.
Would you like to make some comments?
I did learn a lot of new things. I am so excited to apply them and mix them in with my legislative experience and be a part of the excitement of the new view on the horizon that Dr. Pura Adams is talking about. So I'm excited to contribute to our further growth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, and this is Women History Month, and I just want to congratulate all women who've helped to make this nation a better place. It's International Women's Day, so hooray for the women. Where would we be without them?
Mr. Jones, you have
Madam Chair,
yes.
I'm sorry, I also have some announcements.
Okay.
I have a couple. So if you will indulge me, I have a couple of proclamations.
Okay.
The first one is from the Office of the Governor, State of Missouri. Whereas social workers in the state of Missouri and across the nation serve as vital members of the educational team, playing a central role in creating a positive school climate, vital partnerships between the home, school, and community, and to ensure that students have academic success. And whereas good mental health and well-being are essential for children to learn and to grow to become successful, well-adjusted adults. And whereas there is a growing need for local school districts and other educational agencies to address students' emotional, physical, and environmental needs. And whereas school social workers have expertise in many areas, including mental health assessment and interventions, multi-tier systems of support, school-wide intervention strategies, behavioral management, the need for exceptional children, family dynamics affecting student achievement, bullying interventions, child abuse and neglect, as well as community resources that can assist in meeting the needs of students and their families. And whereas it is fitting that school social workers be recognized for the important role they play in the lives of education of Missouri students and their families. Now, therefore, I, Michael L. Parson, Governor of the State of Missouri, do hereby proclaim March 6 through 12, 2022, to be School Social Workers Week. In Missouri, in testament whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause to be affixed the great seal of the state of Missouri in the city of Jefferson, the second day of February 2022.
Congratulations to all school social workers. Let's give them a hand.
I also have serving as a school board member is often a thankless job, and that's never been more true than during this past year. Yet school leaders and board members devote countless hours to making critical decisions that benefit the public school students in our communities throughout the state. To honor board members, Governor Parson has designated the week of March 6th through 12th, 2022 as Missouri School Board Recognition Week. The goal of this week is to increase awareness and understanding of the crucial function an elected Board of Education plays in the success and advancement of our public schools. And so I have another resolution. Whereas a system of quality public education is essential to the future of our state and nation, and whereas the people of Missouri have a long tradition of support for public education and their local school districts, and whereas local school boards are the ultimate expression of the unique American institution of representative governance of public school districts, and whereas local school boards acting on behalf of and in close connection with the people in their communities chart the direction of education in their communities, and whereas local school boards serve as the key community advocate for children, youth, and public schools. Now, therefore, I, Michael L. Parsons, Governor of the State of Missouri, do hereby proclaim March 6th through 12th, 2022 to be School Board Recognition Week in Missouri, and urge all Missourians to recognize school boards as they strive with their communities to improve our public schools through quality leadership. In testimony whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause to be affixed the great seal of the state of Missouri in the city of Jefferson this 18th day of January 2022. And last but not least, from the city of Moline Acres, we have a resolution. Whereas a system of quality public education is essential to the future of state and nation, and whereas the people of Missouri have a long tradition of support for public education and their local school districts, and whereas local school boards are the ultimate expression of the unique American institution of representative governance of public school districts, and whereas local school boards acting on behalf of and in close concert with the people of their communities chart the direction of education for their communities, and whereas local school boards serve as the key community advocate for children, youth, and public schools, and now therefore let it be resolved that the mayor, board of alderpersons, and community recognize March 6th through 12th, 2022 as School Board Recognition Week in Riverview Garden School District, and urge all community members of the Riverview Garden School District Board of Education for their commitment in providing our students with the finest possible education. And this is written by the mayor of Moline, Ms. Michelle Deshay.
Thank you.
And for those who cannot see, our board has received 2 gift bags that we hope that they will enjoy as we embark on the new view for Riverview Gardens and the new horizon.
Would any board members like to make a comment? Okay. Okay. Miranda, would you like to make a comment, Dr. May?
Like I said, this is so exciting for the social workers and everyone that is contributing positively to the school district. Like I said, I am so excited to be a part of this and look forward to all that I can do with my experience and expertise to contribute to the school district success. And thank you everyone who's putting congratulations in the chat.
Well, I just wanted to say that I am both grateful and humbled, and I consider it an honor to serve on the special administrative board of the hardest working group of people in public education, the people that work for the Riverview Garden School District. Today makes 4,268 days, Dr. Becker. And there were times that I didn't think I would make it. and not to get religious or anything, but it seems like every time that came up in me, this little song came up that says, I ain't no ways tired. Come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy, but I don't believe he brought us this far to leave us.
Amen.
We're
I
going
wanna-
to church now.
Yeah, Dr. Beck, I tell you. It's been a week. But I want to thank Dr. Beckwith just for his guidance, his leadership, and what have you. And the reason I said the number of days, because he was, you know, we were appointed, I'm not going to say back when, because then I had to kill somebody, you know, but because our ages would be out, but 4,268 days that we've been trying to give to this district from our hearts. So I thank you for just showing us this bit of appreciation, especially now. I really appreciate it. And I just want to say thank you.
Amen. Amen.
Okay. Were there any additional announcements?
There is a reception immediately following open session.
Thank you. We will now move to item 4, which is patron participation. Do we have any patrons that wish to speak before the board, Shay?
We do not.
Okay. We will now go to reports, and first on the agenda is our superintendent's report.
Thank you, Special Administrative Board. Once again, congratulations on being honored tonight. And again, thank you for entrusting me to do work in the district. I would like if we could just do a moment of silence. As you all know, we had a 5th grader from Coke, Dominic Ray, who passed away last week from a heart condition. And I'd also like a moment of silence for Miss Lisa Kennedy, the niece of Miss Mauro Ria, who recently left us. Thank you. Also, I'd like to just thank members of the SAB and members of the team who came out last week for the State of Education in North County luncheon with the North County Incorporated. It was an insightful meeting. As a result, we've received many phone calls for people really focused on what we're trying to do here in Riverview Gardens and wanting to come out and assist. Today, I had the opportunity to speak before the Regional Business Council's Corporate Foundation funders. The Regional Business Council is the organization that gave us the $5,000 to purchase shirts. So I spoke with representatives from several banks, from many corporations about the work we're doing here in Riverview Gardens. They have committed to be a support to our district in whatever way possible, be that helping us to recruit and retain human capital, be that anything that they can do towards STEM education, career pathways. As a result of the phone call, I've already been contacted by members of Boeing who want to come out and work with the high school and the curriculum and instruction department to enhance our STEM program that we're also doing with the Little Bit Foundation. But they have committed to being a support for our district, at least through next year and then beyond if possible. Today, the State Board of Education held its meeting. In that meeting, it was announced that there were several ESSA schools, as well as 3 schools in the state have been identified as turnaround schools. As a part of that announcement, 3 schools in Riverview Gardens have been identified because of our achievement data. Those schools that were announced today are Highland Elementary, Meadows Elementary, and Lewis and Clark Elementary. What that means is that the state, and I'm stressing that, the state is investing in our school district. They will pay for the turnaround professional. There are different agencies. We as a district will get to choose the agency that will work with us for 4 years. And should we decide to ask for a request for an extension, they will do that. The key piece to this is that the agencies that we choose, and we will vet them, there's a list of 6, I believe, that we will have the opportunity to vet. They have to guarantee that they will help to move our achievement forward at those 3 schools in ELA and math. If you're asking why those 3 schools were chosen, our other elementary schools have already been identified as comprehensive school improvement schools. And so there's already additional funding for those schools. What is being invested at this point in time is $975,000. That is to support the agency that we will work through over here. The other thing it will allow us to do as a district is to align our CSI plans and the turnaround plans so that they are working in the same direction with many of the same identical strategies. Once I have more information, I've been told that I will have this information by the close of this week, then I will be able to send out more information. I did find out informally yesterday, and I did inform Ms. Maura Real at that time. She was the only person that I could inform, but it is now been approved, and so we will be moving forward. I do want to say, when asked why Riverview Gardens, why our 3 schools, the response was that we have a team that is willing to work towards improving our schools.
Thank you.
And that concludes my announcements.
Thank you so much.
I do want to add one thing. I'm sorry. I want us to look at this being identified as turnaround schools as the state investing in our school system with some assurances that as a system, we will be moving forward. That concludes my announcements.
Thank you. We will now have kindergarten registration information.
Good evening, SAB members, Dr. Joylin, colleagues, and community. Before I announce our early kindergarten registration dates, I do want to welcome Dr. Joylin Pruitt-Adams to Riverview Gardens. One of the things she said to us is that we would be working as hard as we ever worked, and I went home last week exhausted. So, and I think that anyone in this room that I'm sitting in can tell you they're exhausted. So I believe that we have the right person leading this ship. So welcome aboard, Dr. Joylin. Also, congratulations, Dr. May and board. Ms. Morrill, 4,200 and what?
4,268 days.
Okay, not that we're counting. Okay, kindergarten registration, early kindergarten registration will be March 28th through April the 30th. Parents will have the opportunity to register for the 22-23 school year starting on March 28th. It will close on April 30th, and then general registration for our district will begin on July 11th for the 22-23 school year. Parents will also have the opportunity to come into their buildings, their home schools, and register their students if they have no technology. So we just wanted to make that announcement. This information will go out to our public tomorrow morning, and we wanted to make that announcement tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Thank you, Dr. Patton.
You're welcome.
We'll now move to items for information. Riverview Garden March 2022 COVID-19 protocols for scholars and staff.
Thank you again. The CDC and the St. Louis Department of Public Health have made changes to the mandates regarding masks. Effective last Monday, masks became optional. The CDC made the change to align with the guidance that no longer recommends universal mask wearing in K through 12 in early education settings in the areas with low or medium COVID community levels. Currently, St. Louis County is at the medium range. As you all know, also Dr. Sam Page lifted the mask mandate in St. Louis County. While we will continue to strongly encourage our scholars to wear masks indoors and on district transportation, at this time we will no longer enforce a mask mandate based on the revised guidelines by the CDC. All other CDC mitigation strategies will continue to remain in place, such as social distancing, washing hands, disinfecting, and enhanced cleaning. We will continue to send home symptomatic or positive students. We will continue to send home close contacts, and we will also notify parents. We will also continue to monitor our community levels on a consistent basis and revise this plan every 30 days. Are there any questions?
I have one comment, if I might. Because we bring this forward and there's been a change, we would ask that the board also approve it tonight.
All right. Thank you. I'll add that to. Okay. Food approved.
And that's also in light of us being served.
Right. Okay, thank you. I have this. I have it down to add it. We will now move to communication survey results.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Pruitt Adams, colleagues and community. Let me share my screen here. And tonight I will be presenting information from the RGSD Communication Survey. These are highlighted results. We did 4 different surveys, really in 2 different runs, one for faculty and staff and teachers. Those were 2 separate surveys, one for RGSD family members and one for RGSD community members who did not have scholars within the district. And here is a timeline, and you'll see there's a little bit of different information from what you have. I noticed an error on the timeline, so I updated that. I'll make sure the SAB gets a copy. But here's a timeline of the survey. In May of 2021, the Communications Committee was started. That includes staff members, administrators, support staff, community members, parents. We did not have scholars as part of the committee in the beginning, although we have just recently welcomed some scholars to the committee as well. In June, there was a meeting with the Missouri School Public Relations Association leaders and other communications directors from the area, because the goal of the survey is really to help us put together a comprehensive communications plan for the district. October, there was the family and the community surveys were sent out. In November of 2021, there was a student roundtable. Again, we didn't survey students initially, but we did have a student listening session with members of the DLT over at the high school and the middle school levels. And here's where the corrections lie. It was actually November of 2021 that the teacher and staff surveys were sent. I think on your copy it says December. And then those surveys were actually closed at the beginning of January. And so I just made that correction here in the presentation. The methodology, we used Panorama. That is a survey that the district pays for. There are questions that Panorama has in their database that are sort of universal questions that anybody can use. And then there were also customized questions that were formed by the Communications Committee. How were the surveys promoted? You see for staff, we primarily communicated that via email to our staff members. We also, in principals meetings, shared that information. We shared it through the committee members and also through meetings that we had throughout the district. We just promoted that, such as PAC meetings and things like that. The community and the families also were emailed the survey. They were posted on the website, on our social media outlets. They were sent out in the Inside View newsletter via community meetings such as Bell Fountain Neighbors meetings and Moline Acres and things like that. And then also was promoted on our electronic board. So now into the survey. First, we'll talk about the family surveys. You see we got 100 responses from families in the district. And these are just some of the areas where they were highlighted. So Communications Committee questions are sort of questions that were developed by the committee. Anywhere where you don't see the percentiles, those were customized surveys, but 63% favorable in communications committee general questions. Family support, 80% favorable results. Family to school communication, 69%, and school climate, we got 62% favorable results. And you'll see the school climate is a common denominator where we got the lowest results. So that's the greatest area for improvement. But the strengths from our family surveys, family support, here are just some example questions. I won't read through them all, but one is, how often do you have conversations with your child about his or her learning at school? We got 86% favorable results in that one. And other family support areas, we were rated highly by our families. Areas of growth, areas where we need improvement. These are school climate, as I mentioned. So one of these, the lowest from the family, was how motivating are the classroom lessons at your child's school? You see, we only got 53% favorable results. To what extent do you think that children enjoy your child's school? 61% favorable results. So those are areas we have noted where we need to target and achieve some improvement. Going to the community surveys, again, these are for community members who do not have children in the school. We only received 31 responses. It wasn't a lack of effort, but it is a little bit harder to reach those community members if we don't have their email addresses. But we did promote them through the community meetings and through all the other outlets that I shared before. But you see 40% favorable results in communications committee questions, 53% community school communication, 58% for school climate. Our strengths in here, one of them, how fair or unfair is the school system of evaluating children, 71%. How much does the school value diversity of children's background, 71%. And those were in a couple of different areas. Areas of growth, again, school climate. We're going to see this over and over. So only 39% rated favorable customer service, 39% how motivating are the lessons, how do you feel school values your opinions, 45%. So those areas where we know we need to target and we need to improve. Going to the staff surveys, we received 96 responses. This is not including teachers, so this includes administrators, this includes support staff, all other staff beyond teachers. We received 96 responses. Professional learning was rated at 62%. School climate, again, 48%. School leadership was rated at 50% favorable. Staff and leadership relations, 55%. And background is another sort of general area questions, 53%. And some of the strengths, trauma-informed training, how important is that? What is the turnaround time to responses or inquiries by school or department administrators? Those 89%, 72%. You can see some other high scores here on that slide. Areas of growth, where do we need to improve? How comfortable do you feel communicating with district administration? 27%. And frankly, that's unacceptable. That's a weakness that we need to target. How much do you feel district leaders value your opinions? 26% on that one. I will point out, these surveys were done before Dr. Pruitt-Adams arrived, at least sent out. And so we feel like her leadership, if we did another survey today, I feel like these levels would be higher, but we know that we still need to focus on these areas. We do plan to do another survey towards the end of the school year so that we can track the growth. But this one, we wanted to get a baseline. We knew we were going to struggle with our communications and how effective we are. So that's the reason the survey was done, so we can identify the areas of growth and target our plans to address those. The teacher surveys, these are specifically teachers. The teacher and the staff surveys were very similar, except the teacher surveys had some questions specifically targeting student relationships with teachers. And so on this one, 53% for professional learning, favorable results, 40% for school climate. So again, that's the area we have to improve, the most critical. School leadership, 43% favorable. Staff leadership relationships, 52%, and background, 43%. So some of the strengths that we have, again, trauma-informed practices. Our staff members, our teachers believe that's very important. Getting in contact with administrators, they feel that that is very, we're doing a good job at that, 77% favorable. Areas of growth, again, this goes to district leadership. How much do you feel district leaders value your opinions? 8%. And that stings as a person who's in district leadership, that hurts, but we own this. We know that we feel like we've improved, but we have to own where we are, and it doesn't get lower than 8%. So we really have a way to go with this. How positive is the working environment in your school? 27%. And you see these other responses here. We also did have questions toward the end of the survey, just asking open-ended questions. How can we improve? What do we do well? What can we do better? What type of resources did you need? And so I just put together some of these comments. I'm not going to read all of them, but these are from the families and the community. One of the things, it's not easy to get responses from certain departments. It takes a village, helping both ways, helping both parents and teachers. When I call the front office, they say they will call me back, but they never call or email me back. That's something that we hear often, and we know that we need to improve on in terms of customer service at our buildings. Some more, my child's teachers are awesome. So not all the comments were negative. We had a lot of positive comments as well, positive and professional. There's not one day I call to speak with someone from the school. They're always polite and sweet. So notable comments, these are from the teachers and the staff surveys. One comment right here, the first one, actually listen to us. We fill out countless PD surveys listing what we wish to learn more about, yet we end up being forced into the same PDs year after year. Hold district staff accountable. I'd like to see smaller class sizes. But again, we had positive ones as well. I love it here. The staff looks out for each other and the students. We had a lot of sentiments like that where staff were appreciative of their teams and they felt like they had strong support from their teammates. The next page, listen to your front line. That's your teachers. Parents' contact information needs to be updated. Faith and leadership, that our concerns matter. Treat us as professionals. And so, again, I don't want to read through all of the comments, but it definitely was a mixed bag. But the overall sentiments of the survey shows that we have a lot of area to grow in terms of school climate and for the district leadership team, regaining trust of our faculty and staff and the community, and specifically in terms of getting more response, because 31 responses from the community members is not really acceptable. Again, we worked hard for that 31, but we need to do better. And I think as we go forward and survey again, and as we build that trust and build that continuity, just that consistency with the community, I think they'll be more responsive in the future. Are there any questions or comments?
Yes. First of all, Mr. Sistrunk, I appreciate the survey being taken. It yielded some good information. However, I have a concern about the reliability of it based on the number of people who participated. I sent in a question on yesterday, it was really Sunday, and you responded that there are 650 staff in our district. That wasn't divided up, so I just divided 325 as staff and 325 as teachers. What we got was 96 staff members participated in the survey. 121 teachers participated. In all, 217 out of 650 employees participated for an overall percentage of 33%. So what I'm saying, we have to take this with a grain of salt because of the low participation rate. The other question I have, why were administrators lumped in with staff? Normally staff are those non-certificated supportive type of people? Why did we include administrators in with staff as opposed to being a separate group?
Thank you for the questions, Dr. Beckwith. In terms of why administrators were lumped in with staff, the way that we did the questions, like I said, we had a small batch that were targeted specifically where they had student and teacher relationships. And so we separated those so that they could have, there may have been 5 or 10 questions related to that. And so everybody else we just put together. Initially, we had one survey for all employees, for teachers and staff members. But as the committee reviewed the questions and went over them, we wanted to get some information specifically in terms of student and teacher relationships. And so that's why we separated that way. We didn't really put a lot of thought into certificated or not, but we wanted to survey all the staff together. And so that's how it ended up being separated.
And I appreciate that. And I know you're going to do a post and a pre and post on this, but I think in the future, it's important to hear from administrators separately, just like you put the teachers in one group and heard from them. I think it's important to do the administrators the same way.
Thank you for the feedback. We'll make sure we do that.
Dr. May, do you have any questions?
I just have a
You do.
comment.
Okay.
A lot of what the communications committee does really overlaps into other departments that will be necessary for the implementation and improvement of those areas. And I know with Dr. Pruitt-Adams being the superintendent, that that collaboration will take place for the areas that are of concern as far as communication. So hopefully a plan will be detailed that the board and the community will hear about. But the goal of the questions were to really get at information that will create transparency. And I think some of the general questions that's normally asked really doesn't dig into the issue. So hopefully with the transparency and the results for the next time, we can really move forward with a plan and change the culture and climate overall in the district.
Okay. Thank you. We will now move to item 7 on the agenda, which is items for discussion. United Cab Services is first.
Good evening again, SAB members, Dr. Joling, community and colleagues. Tonight, I bring before you an item for discussion. In order to meet the requirements of our consent decree and meet the guidelines of McKinney-Vento, we are required to provide transportation for our students who live in transition. Therefore, I am bringing forth a contract, an MOU with United Cab Service to add an additional resource to transporting our students. It is recommended that the SAB approve this agreement with United Taxi Cab Services to provide transportation for students in transition at a cost not to exceed the overall transportation budget of $200,000. A recommendation for approval will be presented later in this meeting. Are there any questions?
Dr. Beckwith? Mr. Jones, did you have any questions?
No.
Dr. May, any questions? Thank you. Item B, keep healing and overcoming struggles.
Again, I bring before you for an item for discussion, chaos, keep healing and overcoming struggles. Mindset is a non-clinical and customizable social and emotional learning tool that teaches effective coping strategies to lessen the impact of chronic trauma. Since returning to in-person instruction, many of our students have struggled with mental health issues, social anxiety, and Chaos Mindset program will assist our students with social emotional learning and mental health supports through providing strategies to increase mental health awareness, emotional regulation skills, problem solving, etc. This will be presented to the students at our high school. It is recommended that the SAB approve the Chaos Mindset program in the amount of $13,900 to be paid out of ESSER 3 funds. Are there any questions?
Yes. Dr. Patton, did I miss in your narrative, you stating it was for the high school?
Yes, I did state that it was for the high school.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. May?
Yes, I've gotten a chance to experience the training for the educators. And I really think that it will be beneficial to at some point include the educators as well, because of the high stress and mental health challenges that are being faced by them as well. But it's definitely a good program based on the experience that I've had.
Thank you, Dr. May. We can look at also supporting our staff, as you mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now go to item C, which is federal programs, Title 1A and capital A and Title A, Comprehensive School Improvement Funds.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, our new Superintendent, Dr. Pruitt Adams, colleagues and community. Tonight, I present both revisions for Title I, Big A, and Title I, Little A, Comprehensive School Improvement Funds. These are funds used to provide supplemental resources and services for our scholars and staff for literacy, math, and science. Both funding programs have been presented to DESE for revisions. And at this time, Title I, Little A, the Comprehensive School Improvement Funds have been approved by DESE and the amounts listed. And this evening, I am recommending that the Special Administrative Board approve the revision for Title I, Little A as approved by DESE and Title I, Big A pending approval by DESE. Are there any questions?
Dr. Beckwith? Dr. May? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay. We will now move to staffing, 2022-23 staffing plan.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Pruitt Adams, colleagues and community. Tonight, I will be presenting the 2022-2023 staffing plan for discussion. The staffing plan is based on projected enrollment, also the needs of the students and the staff at each location. Based on the projected enrollment, we are recommending that 5 additional teachers be added to the staffing plan for 2022-2023. 1 teacher at Koch, 1 at Meadows, 1 at Glasgow, 1 at Lewis and Clark, and 1 at Moline. Also, the staffing plan, you will notice that there are grant-funded positions. Those are based on current allocations. And once the budget is finalized, the title budget for 2022-2023, we will bring those changes forward and present those to the SAB. The approximate cost to add 5 additional teachers to the budget is $300,000, and that will be paid for out of the general operating budget. It is recommended that the Special Administrative Board approve the 2022-2023 staffing plan.
Any questions? Dr. Beckwith?
Ms. Williams, I did bring this up in my written question, but I want to repeat it for the public.
Okay.
It's projected that Lewis and Clark Elementary will have a projected enrollment of 152 students for the 2022-23 school year. And the high school is projected to have an enrollment of 1,443 students for the same school year. The high school enrollment is approximately 9.5 times greater than Lewis and Clark's. Yet the staffing plan gives Lewis and Clark 1 nurse, which I don't have a problem with, but only the high school 2 nurses. Even with the nurse assistant, which you've told me we haven't had one for a couple of years, there's a wide gap in health services between the high school and Lewis and Clark, with the high school projected to have 1,291 students more than Lewis and Clark. And I got your response that we're having trouble getting nurses, and I understand that. But what is the problem with, at least on paper, putting an additional nurse at the high school, since its enrollment is 9.5 times as much as Lewis and Clark? And Lewis and Clark should have a full-time nurse. But I'm concerned with enrollment of 1,448, we're only giving the high school 2 nurses.
Okay. Dr. Beckwith, there is no problem with doing that. In all transparency, as we were reviewing the staffing plan and looking at nurses, our focus was making sure we have a nurse at each school. We just didn't take into consideration to add another nurse to the high school. So it's not anything that we would disapprove of doing. That just was not the focus as we were looking at the staffing plan.
And so all I'm suggesting is to put it there. So if you do find a nurse, you don't have to come back to the board and say we found a nurse and so forth.
Okay,
That's my point.
thank you. Yes.
Miranda, Dr. May, I'm sorry, did you have a question? Okay, thank you. We will now go to item H, which is the approval of the consent agenda. May I have a motion?
So move.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We will now go to item 10, which is items for action. We also will be adding to this the Riverview RGSD March 2022 COVID-19. We'll add that as well. So may I have a motion on United Cab Service?
So move.
Second.
Moved in second. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion for RGSD March 2022 COVID-19 protocols for scholars and staff?
So
So
move.
moved. Second.
Second.
Been moved in second. Is there a question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. At this time, with no further business to discuss, I would like a motion to adjourn.
Remind them of
moved.
the reception.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, we do. There's a reception following.
Mhm.
So we will still adjourn this meeting and then go to the reception. May I have a motion?
So
So
moved.
move.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Have a good night.
You do the same.